Hello, my name is Chris Previte, and I'm a director in the healthcare and nonprofit group at Feeley Driscoll, a regional CPA firm located in Boston, Mass. Today we'll be discussing a brief overview of the Massachusetts Adult Day Health Program, including the recently enacted Adult Day Health Licensure Requirements. At Feeley Driscoll, we've been helping clients in the healthcare industry for over 40 years, so if you have any questions following today's brief presentation, please do not hesitate to call us at 888-875-9770 or visit us on the web at www.fdcpa.com. So as a quick overview, Massachusetts offers three models of Adult Day Health Services: Adult Day Health, Dementia Day Services, and Supportive Day Programs, also called Social Day Programs. Today we'll be focusing mainly on the Adult Day Health Program. Dementia programs can be provided as part of an Adult Day Health Program that's currently reimbursed through Medicaid, and it does require specifically trained staff and additional requirements on top of some of the licensure requirements for an ADH facility. Supportive Day programs are less in scope than an ADH facility, and they do not require licensure at this point in time. An ADH facility is allowed to bring in some Supportive Day program participants into their program. But as I mentioned, we'll spend most of our time discussing the new licensure requirements of ADH in Massachusetts. An ADH program in Massachusetts offers three levels of care: basic, complex, and HPP, which is a health preventative and promotion. That is somewhere along the lines of the Supportive Day program rate. The ADH program in Massachusetts previously supported under the Massachusetts Medicaid program, or Mass Health, had regulations that govern those programs. However, effective January 2nd, 2015, all existing Adult Day Health programs were now required to file an application for licensure under the Executive Office of Health and Human Services, the Department of Public Health, by May 1st, 2015. Now that requirement went into effect this year, but any new programs established after January 2nd, 2015 were not only required to file an application, but they also must have been inspected and receive license prior to serving any participants. There's no determination of need requirement for the new licensure for an Adult Day Health program or any need to get a plan review program in place. There's also no fee for licensure that has been established to date yet. You can find a list of the requirements on the new licensure program on the mass.gov website, particularly under the Adult Day Health Program requirements. What I want to discuss were a few of the differences in the Adult Day Health licensure requirements from the previously Mass Health regulations that governed the program. Some of the main differences or significant differences that would impact a particular facility in regards to the staffing requirements. Under the previous regulations, staffing requirements varied for direct staff and nursing staff and were based on a per member rate. Under the new licensure requirements, it's very important to understand that there are differences in staffing, and the definition has actually become a little bit more lax in terms of easier to meet the requirements on a daily basis. Secondly, under the new licensure requirements, the terminology for average daily census was removed and replaced with max capacity. So a program's maximum capacity was used rather than average daily census in terms of helping to calculate those staffing requirements. Previously, average daily census could potentially allow a facility to operate in excess of its maximum daily capacity if that average census met its required mark. Under the new maximum capacity, programs are required to apply and file a program capacity form with the new licensure requirements. So those new licensure requirements consist of a list of items that help a program get started. First, there's an application checklist for each program. This is just a checklist that you would submit with the application and keeps you in check with what is actually required to be filed. The initial licensure form, which you provide a copy of local occupancy permit and proof of local fire inspection, quarry release forms, etc., is the main form of the new licensure application. A third piece that gets filed with your application is that program capacity form that I just mentioned, Here's where you get your established maximum program capacity. This is usually based on your physical plant size and your facilities. So as I mentioned in the previous Mass Health regulations and in the new licensure regulations, there are physical plant size requirements that require a certain size plant per square foot per participant. This would go for bathrooms, quiet space, a nursing station, etc. And that's how your maximum program capacity is determined. Lastly is the clinical information and attestation form, on which DPH will evaluate whether you meet the compliance requirements of the new licensure. There is a waiver period of 1 year from the date of January 2nd, 2015, in which facilities, if they don't meet the compliance requirements, can file a waiver with the state in order to put a program in place that lays out a plan that would get the facility in compliance with the clinical form requirements. New programs must either be in compliance or request a waiver prior to operation, which is a little bit different than existing programs. All programs also must submit a certificate of approval to their local Board of Health for their kitchen facilities and meet specific meal requirements and nutritional requirements as laid out by the licensure. One thing that's come upon recently and is spelled out in the Massachusetts regulations is that DPH or any of its agents may actually visit and inspect a program or licensure applicant at any time without prior notice in order to determine if the program or the applicant's compliant with state law and licensure regulations is intact. Now, since May 1st, 2015 was the new date for requirement of adult day health facilities, I have not heard of a lot of surprise visits yet. But once these licensure requirements are put into place, I would not be surprised if some surprise audits of facilities are undertaken over the next year or so. There are some other significant operational and financial changes that the licensure requirements entail over previous Mass Health regulations. For more information and details on those requirements, please do not hesitate to reach out to us at Feeley Driscoll at 888-875-9770 or on the web at www.fdcpa.com. And thanks for listening in today.